Good morning and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. Okay, today we're going to start in the comments section, and, well, maybe we won't start in the comments section. If you listen really hard, it's raining again. Raining, I tell you, it's something that hasn't happened in about 4 days, but about midway through the night last night, it started to pour. The heaviest rain is about to hit us now. It is so incredibly saturated that when I pull the wagon across the field, it actually slides downhill, sideways, without hay on it. I put hay on it, and then it gets really squirrely, and I worry. So, I don't know. Yeah, one of those things, you know. So, anyways, that's the weather update. We are 22, well, by the time we're done here today, we'll be 23 inches above normal rainfall for our area. So that's just, you know, how do you combat that? I mean, how do you combat that? You just can't. I don't know what the long-term projections are for weather here. As far as I know, we really, truly do need it to freeze badly. I need it to really freeze. I mean, freeze, like so frozen that your breath freezes and falls straight to the ground. That's how frozen I need it for about 3 weeks. And I won't get it. I'm pretty much resolved to the, in my head that it isn't going to happen. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the spring? I mean, I got a lot of ground out there that needs to be baled as soon as I can get my hands on it. I mean, I've done some stuff in March, April in the past when I'm supposed to be putting down fertilizer. And it did turn out okay, afterwards, but you don't get the quality of hay that you would have gotten, if you had gotten it off in the normal time or even in the winter time. So, anyway, all right. So let's go on into the comment section. There's 74 comments here as of right now. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through them. Love the sound of your 8120. She's got a good bark to her. Well, it's an 8.1 liter motor, so they really do bark pretty loud, I guess. It's an 8.1 liter. They were really a decent engine. I don't think they produce it anymore. They may produce it for replacements, but they're not putting it in any of their tractors. Like the 8530 has a 9 liter, and most of the other tractors are stuck on that 6.8 liter. Where I would much rather have the 8.1 liter engine in there instead of trying to push so much horsepower through a 6.8 liter. But they're doing it, and it seems to be working well for them. And that's just my personal opinion. I'd rather have cubic inches of displacement over to put horsepower out rather than small engines cranking so hard, putting a lot of heat to them. They do wear out faster when you do that. Okay, so Ducks Unlimited is a wildlife conservation nonprofit. All right. Okay, so Ducks Unlimited, I don't know anything about Ducks Unlimited because I really don't care about ducks. As far as I knew, they were just, I thought it would, because I've seen people with Ducks Unlimited hats and things like that. I had no idea. I think I even have a Ducks Unlimited hat. But it says here that it is a conservation for nonprofit. Well, $500 million fucking dollars in 15 years or 20 years. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money. Maybe it's not 500 million, but it's in the 50 million. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a person's lifetime. The average person in the United States lifetime over 25 years of working is like $1.3 million over that lifespan. And now with cars and houses costing so much money, more than half of their income will go to the house and the car that they purchase. So whatever, when you get $25 or $50 million to one group that's supposed to be nonprofit, somebody's profiting. I can tell you that. Maybe the business doesn't profit, but the people that run that business just drain that cash right out of there. So Farm Oil Fanatic, he's here. He says, wonder how many senators have their hands tied to those big payoff firms. Well, here's the answer to that. Probably every single one of them has a politician of some form Uh-oh, William is crying. Hold on a second. Let me go get the little monkey. As though someone wasn't happy about that. Okay. So, yeah, I probably could confer that, or, confer that it probably is. Oh.
Cranky baby!
Okay. He doesn't want to be with Dad. This little boy is...
Gimme.
grumpy. Even though he's a good morning person, baby. No. No. Okay. Daddy, get rid of you. Anyway, politicians are paid off by these huge corporations, i.e. political donations. And when you have political donations from, say, Ducks Unlimited, then they have inside information or whatnot, or shell companies get to help them out. Like, hey, by the way, John McCain. We'll use John McCain because John McCain was a George Soros cocksucker, and he just loved that guy. Anyway, John McCain had all kinds of small companies that made parts to build machines of war. So if you have missiles, just say missiles, rockets and missiles and stuff, and you want to profit from upcoming war, because these wars are planned, by the way. They really are. If there's a little turmoil over here in the country, we go in under the guise of women and children. Oh my God, they're suffering, women and children in this country. So we go and we kill 1 million men. What the hell's that about? But John McCain, and it's well known that John McCain owned a company that built parts to go into missile defense. It's just the way it was. Same thing with... I think he was into I think it was John McCain was also owned a company that had something to do with the TSA, the airport security scanners. When I was a kid, you wanted to go to the gate with your family member that was going to get on a TWA Flight 800 and fly off into the sunset. I'm using T-800 because it was shot down over New York, but shortly after the Twin Towers came down. But no, it wasn't shot down, even though hundreds of people saw a missile-like thing go up and take it out. But that's just, that didn't happen. But anyway, John McCain owned I think it was John McCain. I don't want to... If it wasn't John McCain, it was actually the vice president, the ex-vice, or the vice president at the time, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney also owns large portions of gas drilling companies and things like that. So, there's probably and most likely is a definite correlation between a politician, Ducks Unlimited, and all of these top-tier farmers that are getting millions of dollars from the U.S. Farm Bill. And is it right? No. Is it legal? Probably is, because the politicians write the laws, or the politicians introduce bills which become laws, which allows that shit to happen unbeknownst to lowly people like myself, and most likely a lot of people out there that are watching this channel have no idea how the government really truly does work, and it's shady business. It's shady business. Well, how is it that Barry Obama goes from driving a Chrysler 300M with his family in a modest $250,000 home in Chicago to becoming a millionaire after 8 years of being the president on a $450,000 a year salary? It doesn't make sense now, does it? I mean, how does that happen? How does that happen? 4 times 8 is 32, so it's 3.2 million. But we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Or even the Clintons in 1997. or whatever the hell. When did they get? All right, in 2007. 2007, they claimed they were bankrupt. Maybe it was 2005. I don't know. Whatever. Hillary Clinton, Hill and Billary, they're like, oh, we're bankrupt. Even though they got more money being an ex-president than they did as president. And then she becomes the senator. And then we have the Clinton Foundation, which is no longer. It is another name now. And Chelsea, who gets $900,000 a year to head the Clinton Foundation, or what it is called now. I mean, they go from bankrupt to millionaires in a matter of just a few years. So, I'm with Farmall Fanatic. I believe very much so that every one of those high dollar ones, or those non-profit farms that get put out there, they're tax write-offs or shell companies that are on the government take just to become rich. All right. Did you made beans just for animal food, or soy milk, or other things for humans? Well, when I grew soybeans, they went into crushing plants, feed mills, and overseas to the Chinese, which they probably made Chinesium products and sent them back to us, which fell apart. That kind of stuff. Great video, man. How old is William now? And with the EBT food stamps, that's what it's called in Alabama. If she needs it, then yes, but don't abuse something that taxpayers have to pay for. They abuse it every day. They abuse it every single day. They go in, they buy food, steaks and hamburger for their dogs, and they buy stuff that they don't want to return for cash so they can buy cigarettes and beer. Yes, that's what they do. I'm sorry to say, but yes, the cat is out of the bag, and that's what they are. Yep, that's what they do. William is he'll be 5 months old on the 9th. Okay, I'm hearing a lot about gun laws changing in New Jersey. Also, they're protecting the bears. What is wrong with that state? Sorry, hopefully someone in the state legislature wises up. Well, what's wrong with this state? It's a sanctuary state. That's what's wrong with it. And it's full of left-wing liberal jackasses who are so smart, they're stupid. You know when you're so smart, anybody like me with common sense, they don't listen to people with common sense. They only have this one-directional thinking. 10-round magazine is what we're only allowed to have now for AR-15s and things. And, so they instantly made a bunch of people who had been law-abiding citizens a bunch of criminals, and were to turn in or destroy our magazines, which, what do you do? You can block them. You can take them apart and pin them so that they only run 10 rounds. But that's just the first step, So 10 rounds. Maybe in a couple of years it'll be 5 rounds. Or maybe in a couple of years it'll be 3 rounds. Maybe. High-capacity magazines and school shootings, there's no correlation in it to whether they're more deadly or not. As a matter of fact, I watched a video of a guy who took 10-round magazines, 15-round magazines, and 20-round magazines in an AR-15. And believe it or not, the guy that was shooting the 10-round, it was the same guy. He was shooting 10-round magazines. He was actually able to squeeze off more rounds from the 10-round magazines than he was from the 15 and the 20s. I think the 15s were, second, and the 20s were, were later, because he knew in his mind, whether it was a subconscious thing, I've got 20 rounds. I can take my time. Boom, 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 boom. Same thing with the 15s. But in the 10-round magazines, in order to get the capacity that he needed, they just squeezing them off. This finger does lots of things. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reach up, drops. As he's dropping, he's already reaching and slamming another one in. Actually, I think it's a thumb. I don't know. I haven't shot one in a while. But yeah, and when I shoot a gun, I don't shoot it at people, and I don't shoot it at. I don't shoot it at. I don't shoot it to waste ammunition. This is a dumb thing about politicians in the state of any state in the union, is that in their warped mind, they think that law-abiding citizens are the criminals. And criminals are going to follow the laws that are put in place to restrict law-abiding citizens. I mean, do you know how stupid you sound when you stand up in front of on a podium in front of a bunch of people and say 15-round clips, which they always use the term clips. It's magazine, dumbass. A clip is something that comes like a stripper clip for a bolt action. I don't know if they did them in semi-automatics at any time, but mostly bolt actions. So you put a 5-round stripper clip, down they go, you're good to go. Jam 2 of them in there on some weapons that held 10 rounds. The Lee Enfield, I think, was one of those. Can't remember. I'd have to go check out my Lee Enfield. I got a Lee Enfield, 1942. Maybe it's only 5. It might be 10. I don't know. I'd have to go look. Maybe somebody here can tell me. I can't remember. I don't shoot that rifle. It's kind of a collector's item. To me, it's a collector's item. So anyway, so you get your Lee Enfields and stripper clips, and then you have your M1 Garand, which has an 8-round clip because the bullets are held together, clipped into this little thing. But a detachable box magazine, that's what they're talking about. They don't want detachable. If they said clips and wrote into the law clips, the technical name for those are magazines, and it wouldn't apply to anything, but I would love to see that mistake. Loopholes. I'm worse today than yesterday. That is Joe Dirt. So, anyway, yeah. New Jersey, politicians everywhere are dumb. Just plain dumb. If they think that restricting these law-abiding citizens from obtaining or creating criminals out of law-abiding citizens and is going to stop criminals, it's just making more criminals or more lawbreakers by having these high-capacity magazines, because I'm not going into a school and shooting it up. I'd be the guy to come to the school to defend my children. You know, that's me. I mean, if I hear pop, 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 pop up at the school, I'm closer to the school than the state police. I'm going in. I'm going in, man. And the guy, I ain't taking no damn rifle. Forget that. That goes through walls and shit. I just take bird shot. Shoot somebody in the face with number 4 bird. Woo-hoo. Yeah. That'll hurt. Take your eyeballs right out. They'll be like this. Oh my God. They can't do anything. They're done. Just one good round to the head. They're going to survive. They're going to be blinded. And they're going to stop killing your kids. You know, I mean, taking a handgun or a rifle into the school to defend the school, dumb. Take a shotgun. Just go in with a shotgun. Even if a kid does get hit by birdshot, go pick the pellets out. Yeah, it's going to hurt. Are you going to blind that child? Possibly. But your main goal is to stop the intruder. That's it. So, yeah. High-capacity magazine bans do nothing for criminals. They don't care. They'll get them from another state. I live in New Jersey. About 3/4 of a mile away or half a mile away is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, I can go over there and purchase 30-round magazines. Okay? Hey, as a law-abiding New Jersey citizen, I'm not going to buy the 30-round magazines. I'm going to look for 10-rounders, and I'm going to convert my 15s down to 10 rounds. Besides, 30-round magazines, awkward. They're awkward. Why do you think the military only uses 20s? They use 20s because they're double stacked. They don't stick down like a fucking banana, you know. And if you're trying to, I think, 20-round mags and 5.56 by 4.5, tiny little bullet, man. And you put a, 20-round magazine, about that big. 30s, they get really long. And they get really long not because of the ammunition that's in it. It's because of the spring. You have to have room for the spring to feed into the weapon. So a 30-round magazine is going to be, it's not going to be 10 rounds deeper. It's going to be 20 rounds deeper because it needs more room for that spring to compress. Just so you know. But I don't know. I prefer the 10-round magazines personally over the 20s anyway, or the 15s. It doesn't matter. You know, if I'm going through the bushes, I like the 20s, though. I mean, they're really hard to find. 15s are next to near impossible to find. I bought a bunch of 15-round mags when I found them, and they were 20s that were blocked. The guy put wooden blocks in them. That's it. I was like, what's this thing rattling for, and why the hell is it so fucking long? You take a 20-round magazine, it's only about that long. You take a 15, you add 2 more inches, 3 more inches. Shit. Anyway, I'll have to call him later. Anyways, I guess that's enough of that. They're just stupid politicians. Politicians are stupid. They're not there for you. They're not there for you at all. They're short-line morons. Truckers in shorthand the same. Truckers are in shorthand the same as farmers. Great video, Wes. Merry Christmas. Yeah, truck drivers. I mean, truck drivers can be trained in a matter of a couple of months. And I'm just going to tell you this how it is. Now, I'm not saying that truck drivers are not an important part of today's society. I'm just saying a truck driver can be trained in as little as a month to go drive our goods across the country. There you go. Pick up, drop off, no big deal. Learn the laws of the road. And if you have a regular driver's license, really all you need to do is figure out how to drive something that's 10 times longer. Or 6 times longer. So, there you go. A farmer, decades. It takes a lifetime. I mean, there's proof of that on YouTube. You can go look his channel up. You can see the fumbles and the follies and the bullshit that a first-generation farmer has to go through because they don't have that education. They rely on other people or other farmers, whether they're retired or whether they're from a farming background and have moved into the business side of agriculture, or they just rely on YouTube videos to, learn something. It takes a lifetime of learning to become a farmer. I mean, you can't just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy a tractor, a plow, and a planter, and that's it. I'm going to go farm. Fail miserably. It takes a long time. 2 months' time, 2 months, you're bankrupt. There you go. Anyway, yeah. When I started school, we found out I was a very slow learner. And now I'm 33 and have back problems. I've been to physical therapy twice for a total of 20 visits, and they said I have issues and told me to go back to my doctor, and pain medication does not work. I have serious depression, anxiety, panic attacks. It is hard to just make it through the day without wanting to give up because I feel like a failure. So I'm fighting for disability. Been fighting for a little over 2 years. I guess you do have issues, Kevin Steen. I don't understand depression because when I do feel low, I find something to do. I'm sorry your back hurts, but mine hurts too. I've been dealing with back pain since about my mid-20s. I don't complain about it. I just learn how to deal with it. I fell down the stairs the other day. My back hurts. I don't sleep too good at night for the last about 3 weeks. I'm healing. But my back hurts. Do I need to go to a bone bender? Probably. But I want to be completely healed up on the internals before I go and deal with the skeletal issues. And so fighting for disability, I have seen, and I'm not trying to, knock you down at all or put you down at all, but in my experience and knowledge of disability, people will fight harder for that disability and that that Social Security check or that welfare check. They'll fight harder for that than they will to overcome the problems that have led them to that path. So if I can give you some, encouragement to wake up every day, say, my back does not hurt today. Because a lot of problems are mental. You wake up in the morning, my back hurts. Oh my God, my back hurts so bad. Oh my God, my back. Oh my God, am I going to have a panic attack? I'm not making fun of you, but I've seen this. It's ridiculous. I used to wake up in the morning and say, God, my back is going to hurt like hell by the end of the day. And by golly, guess what? I'm crippled by the end of the day. This was before YouTube. And, well, not before YouTube. It was at the beginning of my YouTube career that I was still suffering from back pain. I mean, we're talking 10 years now. I'm 46, so I was 36 at the time. My back is going to kill me. Oh, my God. And I would have back aches. So I'm driving a tractor one day, and the seats in the tractors were not that great. It was a 4430, which is better than the 5020. But the 5020 rode better, so I preferred that. But, of course, you're exposed to all the elements and the noise and the dust and everything. But I was in the 4430, and I'm listening to Howard Stern. And Howard Stern is known to have major back problems, like crippling back problems. What the hell am I going to do with these back problems? So, anyways, he had a doctor on. And a doctor wasn't like a medical doctor or even a chiropractor. He was a psychologist. And he says, you have to wrap your head around the psychology of a back problem. Now, mind you, there are true back injuries and people that do have backaches, pain in their back that is caused by pinched nerves and herniated discs. This will not work. But for most people, an injury that happened years ago becomes a mental injury, which becomes a mental backache. Okay? So, he did something stupid and simple, and he told Howard Stern to wake up in the morning and say, my back doesn't hurt. And it's not going to hurt today because I don't want it to hurt today. And I'm like, okay, I'm open to anything because my back hurt. It does. It hurt. I was still working, obviously, because I never stop. My back hurt. All right, whatever. So the next morning I woke up and I said, you know what? My back doesn't hurt today, and I don't think it's going to hurt at all today. And within 3 days, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. My back actually doesn't hurt. A couple times during the day, my back isn't going to hurt today. And I'm so glad my back doesn't hurt, and I don't think it's going to hurt today. And I get on with my day. My back doesn't hurt. Well, I injured my back again. But, just doing stupid shit, picking stuff up I shouldn't have been picking up, moving stuff I shouldn't have been moving. And my back isn't going to hurt today kind of thought process didn't work. So I went online and I looked up a guy who some of you may know because he had a pretty popular YouTube channel. It was Dave Powers. Dave Powers, Power RC. Dave Powers, Power RC. I used to watch a lot of RC flight videos, and he was awesome. I mean, this guy was making a lot of money on YouTube at the beginning of my YouTube career. He was making money off of this, and he had a daily show. So Mondays was like RC, Wednesday was RC, and Saturday was RC. But he had fitness, he had survival, he had all these different things that he did over the course of the day, and he burned himself out of YouTube. He is no longer on YouTube. Once in a great while, he'll put something up, but it's unwatchable. It's like he puts it up there to say, hey, I wonder how many people actually still watch my channel, kind of a thing. So he says, and he was a very tall guy. He's like 6'6", very slim, but he always had back problems. And he actually said the same thing. Hey, tell yourself in the morning and during the course of the day that my back doesn't hurt. And he says, but if you got a back injury, he says, the cause of your back injury or your back pain is actually in your stomach muscles. So, when your back hurts and you're like tensed over and, tense, well, your stomach will contract. And that will pull on your back. And your back is like, you know what? I need to straighten up. So your back muscles get tense and they start pulling down on your back. And if you've got a herniated or a disc or a pinched nerve, you've got this basically a press on your spine. Stomach muscles contracted, back muscles contracted. What's in the middle here? Your spine. So you're like, yeah, God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's just pissing off the injury that you had and making it inflamed, and you're taking Advil, you're taking aspirin, you're taking Tylenol, you're taking whatever you can take, or you're taking other drugs that can be much higher and cause major problems later in life. So he says, do this very simple thing, he says, and it helped my back. Don't stop telling yourself that your back is not going to hurt today. He says, but lay on the floor. Leave your hips on the floor and push out like you're doing a push-up, like a girl would do a push-up. You ever seen girls do push-ups, when they're like really lazy in high school and grade school? They leave their hips on the floor. How many women do you know complain about their back? Think about this. So, anyways, leave their hips on the floor and stretch, stretch, stretch. Arch your back, arch your back, arch your back. Move your neck like that. I started doing that. Bingo! Within 3 days, gone. Just like that, gone. My stomach muscles had become so incredibly tense, and my back muscles were so incredibly tense. The chiropractor's like, listen, I can't work on you. I used to get almost drunk before I'd go to the chiropractor. I would drink rum and coke and have somebody drive me to the chiropractor. So I was relaxed. When I found Dave Powers' little simple tricks to relieving back pain, bada bing, bada boom, I was happy. I was like, man. So now when I have a backache, and I haven't done it yet because the injury to my back it's a true injury, but now I notice that my stomach muscles are quite tense. Now if I sneeze or cough, my stomach muscles get so incredibly tense and it amplifies my back pain. So I'm going to have to start doing that again. And, once your back stops hurting, then you stop doing it because you've stretched out your belly muscles and your back relaxes. The inflammation goes away, and you can actually go to the chiropractor and they can adjust you back into shape. So, Kevin Steen, try a few of those things. All right, William Wayne Beeson and Hirsoy. God, I had never even heard of these things. Were big ones in the 70s. I like those big, tall canes of Williams until they laid over. Oh, my God. Yeah, the Williams soybeans, I'll never forget. New Holland actually had bean rakes for them. Yep. Bean rakes. They had extra teeth to pick them up. My condolences to your nephew. Thank you, Nathan. Yep. Beef Charolais. Yep, see, I knew that. PM Labarge. Labarge. I think he's French. I would say he's French. French-Canadian. Some financial difficulties as well as difficulties with her partner meant they had to be shipped last fall. Can you believe farmers crying over cows? Yes, I could. Believe me, I know all about farmers crying over cows. But you see, her animals meant a lot to her. But she is 75. Please answer me if you think she should try again or retire. I assume Wes and the crowd here give good advice. NB. Hold on. I was sad to see the cows go too. And yep, these people claim they had sore backs. Bit too skidoos, gas. I suffer from severe depression since I was a kid, but it gets harder to cope. But Wes's videos help. Well, I'm glad I'm helping you out, I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is get out and do something. Get your mind occupied. If your mind is occupied, I mean, here's something as stupid and simple as possible. Have you ever torn a Briggs & scrap iron motor apart, or a Kohler, or an Onan engine? Tear one of them apart. If you're feeling like you can't accomplish something, you can always tear an engine apart and put it back together again. It takes a couple of hours. And then by the time you're done, you feel like you've accomplished something by cleaning out the crud and shit that's in one of those things. I always found that keeping my mind busy, even when things were not doing well, worked pretty good for me. Okay, headaches, fibromyalgia, and type 2 diabetes, a degenerative arthritic right knee, and fatty liver disease. Fatty liver disease, isn't that caused by alcohol? I'm not sure, but anyways, I wish to hell they could tell me what the snarf is wrong with my left hip, but they are still diagnosing. Spare me the liver and joint pains, and I can do the rest on my own. I have been fighting disability for 30 years, but as I get worse and worse, I may actually succeed this time. Yes, I only want medicine and about $100 a month, but I can do fine with that. I live a humble life, but I paid into my CPP, unlike many of those on welfare. I laugh when I see some of these people who cannot live on less than $3,500 a month and note their pensions are tax-free. Anyhow, hang in there, Wes. Enjoy your new son while he is young. Take care, LLAP, and take care of the foxy lady. And recall safety first, and give Tim a break now and then. He's good, but not as good as his old man yet. There you go. Wes, our area Ducks Unlimited is a conservation group, and they get money to promote conservation. NRCS is the conservation group that the U.S. government has. We don't need Ducks Unlimited to, take millions and millions of dollars to do the same thing that farmers and ranchers that are actually working for a living could do through NRCS. I see Ducks Unlimited shirts, hats, pickup truck wraps, shit like that, sponsors, and yet the government's giving them over $50 million a year, or in whatever, 500. I think it's 500 million. It's insane. So yeah, Ducks Unlimited is a shell company to get a bunch of money from the government, in my opinion. Yeah, I lost my wife when she was 30 to diabetes, and we had a 4-year-old baby, and then I sank into deep depression. Again, it's not the end of the world. It sucks for a while, but it's not the end of the world. There are things that you can do to keep your mind busy. You can let grief consume you, and then, of course, you'll get into deep depression. But you had a good thing. You had a 4-year-old baby. That 4-year-old child should have been your world. I mean, you could see your wife every single day in that child, which is good stuff. I'm not down on you or anything, but people need to stop seeing the negative and stuff, which causes them these deep depressions. Have a positive outlook. Yeah, shitty things happen to people every single day, and how you deal with it is what makes or breaks you. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks beyond sucks that happened. But it got worse because your outlook on things wasn't good. I could see, I had 3 children when my ex-wife, I found her cheating on me big time. And she leaves for like 2 months. Of course, she tried to kill me, but, that's a whole nother thing. But I found happiness through my children. And, of course, I didn't hate them for any means, because when I looked at my children, I saw their mother. I wasn't mad at them or anything. I just found them to be the thing that kept me out of trouble. Yeah, so there you go. What's this? Stop globalism. I remember being a baby, 2 years old, in a cot in a cold corridor crying because they were in there watching TV in the warm and the light, and I wasn't. Grr. Small stuff really screws you up. 69, fuck it. Oh. Wait a minute. Okay. I have very vivid childhood memories, okay? Vivid, like from when I was about 4 years old. I remember being a baby, 2 years old, in a cot in a cold corridor crying because they were watching TV in the warm and light, and I wasn't. Grr. Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. What? Why were they in there watching the boob tube? I mean, again, they were maybe possibly putting you to bed and you refused to sleep, but also, babies can't talk. Well, 2 years old, you're talking. So, I'm sorry. That sucks. I mean, that sucks. Now, it shouldn't rule your life. I remember crying in my bed, in my bedroom, because I was alone and scared after a dream that I had had. It was just this overwhelming feeling of hopelessness. And I remember crying and my mom coming in and not knowing what to do with me and leaving me there because she didn't know what to do with me, trying to console me. I was just hysterical. Took my temperature, made sure I wasn't cold, and then she went back to bed, and I laid there like this because I couldn't go back to sleep. I was a little older then, though. I was maybe 5 or 6. But you know what? I remember it, but I'm not going to let it ruin my life, obviously. Best wishes for you and your family this coming year. I'm going to need it. It's raining right now. I don't know what 1402 meant, but depression is something quite serious and shouldn't be commented on unless a referral. You're a farmer, not a Samaritan, but you invite humanity into your world. Be careful. Yes, people are a little bit off kilter, and that's why when someone's coming to see me, I generally have a firearm close, because you never know who's going to come. Yeah, I definitely have a knife handy. But yeah, I know people are a little bit off the charts there. In the UK, the gutter press repeat the poor are feckless scroungers. The reality is poor education. That's it. I could explain on that, but what's the point? Bad governance by privileged public schools, toffs that just don't get it. But that's always been the case. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I went to school, I was considered a dummy. They put me in the dummy classes because I was too stupid to read an operator's manual or even a repair manual. And yet, here I am doing the things that I do well, you know. I don't know. I just think they dropped the ball on my case, but that's okay. They changed the name to Transplace and Transplace. Anyway, as a farmer, I think many people believe that farmers are rich because of the land they own. The funny thing is, about that is that, yes, the land might be worth something, but without the land, there is no farmer. Or without the farmer, there is no land, because the land will be developed upon, and that's what's happened in this area. Trucker, kind of the same thing. I think a lot of people think all truckers own their trucks. There are two types of truckers, independents and company drivers. I'm not a farmer or a trucker, but I know the difference. I have a lot of respect to each. Sometimes it would be nice if the truckers would respect the drivers on the road. I've been run off the road a few times. They are way bigger than me, so I give in. Added note, I know way too many drivers do not give any respect to the truckers. That's not me. Please do not try to kill me. Thanks. Yeah, well, I agree with that. I almost got killed by a truck driver coming down off of 309 Hill on Route 78. Yeah, you go down 309 78 Hill, and then it squeezes in. And I was on my motorcycle. And I moved over, and a trucker was in the slow lane, and he was coming up on another truck in front of him that was slower than him. And the next thing I know, this truck is coming along me, and he came up my side onto me, and I rode the rumble strip on Route 78 so I could get on the brakes enough to let him get past me so I could go through. And I'll tell you, that was pretty much the last time I took that motorcycle up on 78 because the asshole didn't look. You know, they just, slow truck. It's a good thing I was vigilant enough to see what was happening, and I just moved over enough. And, I mean, literally, you know, the rumble strip and the white line, they run about this far apart. I was going down the road. So, yeah, they can do that. You're wrong about Ducks Unlimited. Ducks Unlimited is a conservation organization dedicated to preserving wetlands in large part, and that entails managing huge tracts of farmland in an ecologically responsible fashion. Then do it through donations, not through government. The government, NRCS, is the one that regulates farmland through conservation practices. Yes. So Ducks Unlimited is just a company that whatever. I don't know. NRCS, National Resources and Conservation Services. Yeah. They used to have me by the balls, too. No farmer really wants their land to erode away. So, back in the day when it was formed, yeah, farmers didn't give a shit. They just didn't know any better. And now they do, so most farmers are pretty responsible. And when they say Ducks Unlimited is nonprofit, you can't tell me $500-some million from the U.S. government. Yeah, farms convert them to wetlands, gets government money, outbids farmers for land. There you go. Mark Cornell, they're profiting. Trust me. Those CEOs of that company, they are. I was out in Iowa, and there was a tract of land that was bought up by Ducks Unlimited. They own it. And it was like 2,000 acres in the center of this section up on Iowa 20. And I think it was Iowa 20. And they were really having a fit about it because the wildlife that was being housed within those acreage, they leave at night and go eat the grain, the crops out and around the edges of the field. And then in the daytime, back to the sanctuary, and then you're kind of fucked. So, yeah. Yeah. I should gurgle Ducks Unlimited a little more. I just, I don't. I thought it was a sporting goods store, to be honest with you. I don't fucking care. When you find out it's a conservation, that's even worse, because they go out and they, like you said, they bid on ground and outbid farmers, turn it into a wetland swamp. And what's going to happen when the population, which is growing immensely every year due to modern medications and things like that, the population numbers the amount of food that we can grow to feed that population, and then you've got what? They're going to go slash, cut, and burn their conservation areas? I don't think so. Yeah. Anyways, I think 45 minutes is enough of this. So thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Sorry if I didn't get to your questions, but try again next time.